Hello everybody in Facebook. Hopefully you're only getting this much of me because everything from that point below is just getting old and a bit jaded. I'm sorry if you couldn't make it to our live shoot at Gifford Circus. I'm sure my part of the audience will tell you that we've had some fantastic acts, haven't we? Have you enjoyed it? Brilliant. And now what we're going to do is we're going to shoot Virgil as our main actor in the piece. We're going to try and do a nice themed portrait of him, and I'm going to explain my way through. So if you want to watch over my shoulder and see what we're doing, then you're more than welcome to stay. I believe you have the facilities if Emma, if we turn the camera around, turn the camera around, Emma. Yeah, right, you can tell she's used to the selfie generation, can't you? I believe she will be able to take questions. We can't promise to answer them all, but we'll do our very best as we go along. So join us and enjoy. Right, so my job, as I was saying, is to go wherever I'm sent and take the best picture I possibly can. Now, we didn't see what we were doing beforehand, so sometimes we have to rely on experience to shoot on the fly. My job, as always, is to tell a three-dimensional lie in a two-dimensional medium. And I can only do that by using differential focus and adding shadow and highlight into the picture to create that lie. That's why I like to be in control of everything that I do. Is there anybody in my little section of the audience that's a keen portrait or lighting exponent? Would you like to do this bit for me? Are you sure? Oh, damn. Right, I better carry on working then. Right, so from my point of view, what we're going to do is we're probably, because obviously I didn't know how tall Virgil was.
6'3".
Right, there's a rule. Because of my ego, I can't have you being taller than me, so I'm not going to stand near you if that's okay. And he's much better looking than me as well, isn't he, ladies? Let's try and not fixate on him and we'll learn about the lesson. So what we're going to do is I'd already, when I came in, I've chosen my background. I'm going to use those wanted posters because I don't want it to be obvious, look, we're at a Wild West themed circus. I want it to feel Wild West, if that makes sense. So in other words, if I want a derelict wall, I don't want to look at the wall and think, oh, it needs pointing. I just want it to feel that it's a little bit grungy and a little bit distressed. It's adding to the narrative of the story. So, what we're going to do is I've already measured the ambient light, the existing theatrical light, which was a 15th of a second at f2.8 back where we're shooting. And in that way, what I can do is I can decide, do I ignore it or do I use it? And I'm going to use it, I'm going to drag the shutter. In other words, the shutter is being controlled by the ambient light, and I'm going to gather that light to fill the shadows, and then the aperture will be controlled by the flash, or the flash will be controlled by the aperture. So I'm blending both exposures to get the look that I'm after. So what I'll do is I'll quickly explain through the lights, I'll take my shot, and then we'll let you all have a go as well. Does that sound reasonable? Fab. Right, so we've got a 4-light setup. The fourth light that you can't see is the ambient light, and that's going to add colour, drama, mood. It's going to be a little bit of fill. Then we've got one light over there with a very small dish on. I'm using Elinchrome's ELBs, which are a battery pack light. I love them because it's portable power with easy modification anywhere that I can take them to. And that's going to be a backlight. It's going to sort of separate Virgil from the background a little bit. Then we've got a small strip box, which is going to be an accent light. And in essence, that is also going to separate him, but because it's from the same side as the key light, it's known as an accent light. And that will make a lot of specularity in his skin, which is fab. And then we've chosen a small 19-inch McGillicuddy designed portable beauty dish for a crisper, harder light. I might take the front diffuser off and make it even more specular, but that I don't know until I start taking my test shot. And we've got them metered at f4, 2.8 and 3/10 and 3.2. So it's giving us a round feeling of light. I'm trying to tell that three-dimensional light. Now I might cheat actually while I'm shooting this, because my job is about cheating as well. And rather than fight to get the light under the brim of the Stetson, I might ask Virgil to hold it. It might give us something to do with his hands as well, because we have to plan for what we've got, and I didn't know how tall he was going to be, so that's a way of making my life a bit easier. Can you hold your hat for me, please, sir? Any technical questions that you've got? At least you don't have the same problem as me when it comes to her. I shave this for fashion. Yeah, every day, shaved for fashion, my friend.
Every day?
Well, maybe every other day, depends how lazy I'm being. So, that's basically what we're going to do. I'm going to shoot on a 45mm lens because it's a good focal length for portraiture. It gives me separation and it gives me perspective compression, which makes our main subject the focal point. So that's what I'm choosing. I'm probably going to shoot it in a square format. The OMD's range is great for that because I can choose whichever format I want to shoot in. It's not doing anything major like remorphing the sensor, but it is showing me an empirical crop. Because let's be honest, how many times have we shot something and thought that'll look brilliant square, we go to crop it square and we cut a bit off that's really important. So seeing an empirical crop is a sensible thing for me, and I might even throw the pinhole art filter in to give me a little bit of vignette and a tiny bit of cross-processed colour, and then that should be it, job done. So sir, can you join me back this way? James, can you might have to hold this up for me. So you're going to stand here for me, weight back on your right leg, you're just going to turn this way. Now, I probably don't have to tell you this, but I need you to be cool. If you're in any doubt of what cool is, have a quick look at me, absorb it all in, that's cool, my friend. Well, perhaps 20 years ago. Right, come back this way a little bit and forward. If you just hold the hat in both hands, a little bit of hat, that's fine. Just relax, it's all about relaxing. As if you've taken your hat off and you're going to give us a talking to. That's it, that's where we are, and your eye's going to be back this way. James, just bring this round for me, let's have a look at that. And then hopefully, I always maintain that 90% of my work is done before I ever pick the camera up, because it should only need a slight tweak now if we've got all the elements right in place. I've decided that I'm going to use pinhole. One of the things that people often forget is when I'm testing the cameras initially, there's no raw conversion software available, so I have to shoot the best file I can. So shooting a JPEG, not that I'm recommending it, is what I have to do. So that's why we use the art filters a little bit, because it gives us an extra dimension. I like to think of it as pre-production as opposed to post-production. So let's see how far back I have to come. Right, sir, can you take half a step that way? All of you. Keep turning, not turning, stepping.
Okay,
Perfect, then turn that way for me. A bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more, bit more. Because I want to just get those posters slightly out of focus in the background. Bring this round, yeah, we all turned on, is everything on? That's actually one of my top tips, Facebook. If you're going to use lights, turn them on. Right, I need a humble law enforcer here. I'm coming to watch tonight, so hopefully just bring that round a little bit, James. Step round. Perfect. Let's see where I am in the crop. That's not too bad. Because I want him to look powerful and in charge, I'm going to lower my shooting height. Turn that way a little bit, mate. A bit more. Fantastic. Head back to me. One more. Right, if we show Facebook, it should give you an idea of what we were trying to achieve. And in essence, the job's done. Is that okay? Does that make sense? Can you see how important that accent and the separation line was? Especially with Virgil's very dark skin. Do you think he looks nearly as cool as I do? What, nearly? That's a right thing to say. So you can see the separation. Right, who's up for a go? That's the zoomed in version. Just so you can see it into his face. And there's the overall picture. Will that do? Fabulous.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
You've got mixed colour temperature with the ambient and the flash.
I have.
You've done anything about filtering the flash and stone mix?
No, basically what I've done, because I'm dragging the shutter, I've mixed my white balance, so I've got a custom white balance. It's 5,200 degrees Kelvin. So it's slightly not on daylight. So I'm allowing the warm light to interact, as you can see in the picture, because I want that sort of semi-theatrical feel, so it feels like we're doing a production. I mean, the way the lights are set as well, and it might be worth testing, is to shoot it in black and white as well, because that should look pretty impressive. So somewhere here, for the first and most brave amongst us, I have a trigger. Who's coming first? Come on then. Right, everything's good to go. It's a single connection. Just slide it on, and that goes down.
So what was the same? So it's
I shot that at 30th of a second, ISO 200, 30th of a second at f4. And we're good to go. I'm going to make a tweak to your picture that I didn't have on mine. I'm
Sorry,
going to
what's
hold
the-
this light up.
What's the aperture?
Put this light a little bit higher for you.
at 30th. What was the aperture, sorry?
F4.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we have to be mindful that everybody needs to have a go, so we'll take 2 or 3 frames each, then we're winning. Brilliant, fantastic. Next, don't all rush at once. Don't bite. Look. That just slips on there. F4, you can use whatever shutter speed you want. All that will do is lighten or darken the background dependent on your taste. It's what the Americans call pop and burn. We call it dragging the shutter. We're slowing the shutter down to increase the ambient light usage or not, as the case may be. So lower than 30th of a second, and what will happen is you'll get a greater richness in the background. Faster than a 30th of a second, the background will become darker. And it's a bit like asking how much salt do you like in your soup. It's all about choice.
Sorry, maybe not what colour now.
I'm set at, I think, 5,200 degrees, just slightly less than daylight. But again, that's a totally independent choice depending on how you want it to be. If you want it to look warmer, go one way. If you want it to look cooler, go the other way. But really, because we're using daylight balanced flash as the key light source, we're pretty much in the 5,000 degrees Kelvin look, unless with black skin it'll look really good the cooler you go, because that black skin will take on a lovely blue hue. It'll look steely. Thank you, my pleasure. Next person. Been very patient there, sir. You should be good to go there. Any questions? Yes. Yeah.
It's very new to me. How would it be if you took that
You didn't do that?
Daylight balance flash. Right?
No, it's just there's a test
I would be shooting raw, can, collage, JPEG. Otherwise, anything you put in your if you're just shooting raw, any settings you put in like colour, white balance, art filters will just disappear because they don't affect the raw file. And I would have a little go. See, I have it set up for. I don't want to move your settings.
Don't worry about moving any of my
I have
settings.
mine set up so I can use a super control panel. But you're pretty much there now.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Right, okay, well you can see that it's very hot under these lights. You want to see the state of Emma. But hopefully you've enjoyed joining us for that small snippet if you couldn't be here for the actual shoot. I promise that we'll get the files sorted and we'll post them online. I'll send them to Emma so they can be on the social media stream. Hope you've enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for your time.